never forgive this SpongeBob episode for lying to my face. Back when SpongeBob's 10th anniversary special, Truth or Square, first premiered, my child self was already starting to see some major flaws in SpongeBob's ever-declining quality. But I could forgive my favorite yellow sponge for a few bad episodes. However, I was not prepared for the utter betrayal that I was about to witness.
SpongeBob's biggest secrets will be revealed.
So says the advertisement for this episode, which is followed by a shot of Krabs and Squidward gasping at something SpongeBob just showed them. Wow, this thing they're gasping at must be a really big reveal in the episode, right? Oh, it's not a big reveal? They're just gasping because SpongeBob made a big ice sculpture? Why did you use this shot when you said secrets are being revealed then? Then the trailer says,
Witness SpongeBob's first Krabby Patty.
This one is actually true and unsettling. But also not too crazy of a reveal. Like, biggest secrets are revealed means this guy's mom ate a burger once before he was even born. Cool. Next it says,
Secret side of Patrick Star. Who are you? And who are you working for?
ooh, what does that mean? Was Patrick a secret agent all along? Is that why he acts so dumb? Let's consult the actual context of the episode, shall we?
Hired some extra security.
You hired Patrick.
Oh, it's just Patrick being dumb and taking his job as security at the Krusty Krab too seriously? This special doesn't actually reveal any secret side of Patrick at all? And then it says,
And the confession that will rock Bikini Bottom.
there is literally no moment that even resembles a confession of any sorts in the episode. There's another trailer that's a little more honest. It says,
Was Bikini Bottom like before SpongeBob? Why is there a pineapple under the sea?
both of those things are answered in the special. So, yay, not lying. Good noodle star for you. Then it teases,
Witness the wedding you never thought you'd see.
you know what, let's just put a pin in this one and we'll come back to talk about it later. I got a lot of stuff to say about this wedding thing. Then, after a bout of honesty, this trailer can't help but end on a big fat lie.
And learn the biggest secret in Bikini Bottom.
The Krabby Patty formula.
In the episode, this reveal actually just shows us the first time SpongeBob heard the formula. Doesn't tell us the formula itself. And it's this bit where they go on this big journey only to arrive back at the Krusty Krab. And like, that's a funny bit, but it doesn't reveal the formula, so why are you acting like you are? And look, I know they can't reveal the actual Krabby Patty formula because it would ruin the mystique of the Krabby Patty formula. I said as much in my Krabby Patty secret formula video, check it out. But like, if you're not gonna reveal the formula, you can't advertise a special on the basis of saying that you're going to. That's just lying. You're lying to me, and it's very disrespectful to the audience.
Boo! You stink!
But I didn't know all that when I was but a wee lad ready to watch this big SpongeBob special. Truth or Square is not a big lore reveal episode like, say, Friend or Foe was. Its plot is quite regular, actually, revolving around SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Krabs being stuck in the Krusty Krab air vents, keeping the restaurant from celebrating its 11th anniversary. Look, I get using a made-up number so as to not reveal the actual age of the Krusty Krab, but like, 11, seriously? It sounds like something you would hear on Rugrats, but like, if it were on Rugrats, it would be a number that only the babies believe exists, whereas in this SpongeBob episode, 11 is a number that everyone acknowledges to be real. It just makes the whole of Bikini Bottom feel childish, whereas it's supposed to only be SpongeBob and Patrick who act childish, while the rest of the universe is more grounded to balance them out. Also, the Chum Bucket is celebrating a real number anniversary, 50 years, and this came out after Friend or Foe, which establishes that Krabs and Plankton started their restaurants at around the same time, so like, is 11 near 50? I just don't get how in a special that was all about expanding our knowledge of the SpongeBob universe, they're not even willing to tell us how many years one of the most important landmarks in the series has existed for. Oh yeah, and I've gotta mention the Patchy segments.
Hey LeBron, how's the dribbling?
Hey Patchy, what's up?
About half of the episode revolves around Patchy the Pirate pestering 2009 era celebrities. Look, I love Patchy, but he's best used in doses. I do not like when he takes up an entire B story. There isn't much to say about this live action segment other than it isn't funny or entertaining and it takes up a lot of the episode's runtime. But what about all these flashbacks? What do those tell us about the world of SpongeBob? Well, first of all, a good amount of these flashbacks have nothing to do do with lore or world building. Sometimes they're just flashback-based bits akin to Family Guy cutaways, like, "Oh, Lois, this is worse than the time I redecorated the Krusty Krab," and it just shows a montage of times SpongeBob made the Krusty Krab weird themes. Like, that's sure, it's a flashback, but that's not a reveal. Beyond some of the more shallow flashbacks like that, there are moments that seem to at least be attempting world building. Like, there's that flashback I talked about earlier with SpongeBob's womb patty. Oh my goodness, why did they draw her like that? This flashback falls completely flat because it just doesn't tell a compelling story. It basically boils down to SpongeBob wanted a Krabby Patty, so we want one, with the only twist being that he's a fetus. It doesn't expand our understanding of the world, it doesn't expand on SpongeBob as a character, and it certainly didn't get me to laugh. Another lore-heavy flashback is Squidward reminiscing on his life before he met SpongeBob. Honestly, I like this one. We even get to see one of the Krusty Krab fry cooks who came before SpongeBob. This succeeds as a flashback because it tells us something about the character of Squidward and the world itself. One big lore reveal was, where did SpongeBob's pineapple house come from? When I first saw this episode at age 10, I thought this was pretty neat. I now find it devoid of meaning. It literally is just a pineapple fell off a ship and became SpongeBob's house. Why even make that a reveal? That doesn't tell us anything important about this universe. Like, SpongeBob's house being a pineapple is kind of strange, and maybe giving a deeper reason as to why it's a pineapple could have told us something about his character. But no, it just fell off a ship, and apparently that's what counts as a big reveal in this special. There's also this one strange moment where they find themselves in a surveillance room, and it's revealed that Mr. Krabs spies on all the main characters, which... why would Krabs do that? He's not a supervillain, he's just greedy. In fact, I don't see why he would spend money to do this. What does he have to gain? Also, if they're trapped in the vents, how come there's no way out from this surveillance room? Why would Mr. Krabs have a surveillance room that he doesn't even know how to get to? We also get a few flashbacks with alternate art styles. One of them is introduced by Patchy as the oldest SpongeBob cartoon, and shows us what SpongeBob would have looked like with 1930s rubber hose animation. However, instead of engaging with the kinds of stories these old-timey animations would tell, all this section amounts to is, what if SpongeBob looked old-timey, as all he does is sing about how he's ready to go to work and nothing else happens. The other art style change flashback is in the form of an old-timey Krusty Krab commercial, which also shows a young SpongeBob going to get one. To give this flashback credit, it does tell us something more about the SpongeBob universe. It shows us what the Krusty Krab looked like in a different time. It gives the Krusty Krab a stronger sort of presence because it tells us that it's been there a long time, to the point where it's even had to adapt to changing cultural times. Okay, I saved the worst for last, the SpongeBob Sandy wedding fake out. So here's the flashback. SpongeBob says,
"Remember the day Sandy and I got married?"
Everyone looks shocked. There's a flashback to a wedding. Before they kiss, a light falls and everyone leaves angry, and they reveal that it was a play. To give that one ad I talked about earlier credit, it actually is honest about it being a play. So the problem isn't that the ad lied, the problem is that it gave away the joke. Not a very funny joke, but it still gave it away. But if it didn't give away the joke, it would have lied. So what's the best way to handle this part of the episode? Oh, I know. Just don't do it. Just don't write it. It's definitionally unsatisfying, and it should have been left on the cutting room floor. There's so many things wrong with this flashback. First off, the people SpongeBob is telling the story to were there, so why are they surprised? Also, did the writers understand what a play is? You usually don't play yourself in a play. Why would they do a play where they get married? Who was that for? Why did that happen? It makes no sense. The reason I think this flashback is so clunky is because it was written first to be used in trailers and then had to be worked into the episode. It's clickbait before clickbait. Everything around that was hastily put together in order to not challenge the status quo. But you know what? If you're not willing to challenge your status quo, then you shouldn't be advertising your episode based on challenging the status quo. It's a way they can have their cake and eat it too. Oh, we advertise the episode and get you to watch it by showing you that we're gonna change the status quo, and then we don't. Who wins? Them. Who loses? The audience. And you may be asking, so what if these flashbacks didn't amount to anything? SpongeBob isn't a show where continuity matters. And to that I say, continuity always matters. Don't you like SpongeBob's world? Don't you like its characters? Don't you care about its concepts? And if you do care about these things, then doesn't it bother you when the show you like doesn't seem to care about those things at all? My problem with Truth or Square is that it uses the audience's desire for expanded lore and backstory against them. It knows that we as the audience want to know more about these characters, but it also knows that if it reveals something big, it will shake up the foundation of the show. And when a show like this works so incredibly well, You do not want to do anything to shake that foundation. Even with them knowing they aren't ever going to do something like reveal the Krabby Patty formula or officially make SpongeBob and Sandy a couple, as those things would destroy their foundation and possibly destroy the entire franchise, they still acted like those things were going to happen just to get a couple more eyes on a special I'm sure they know they didn't do a very good job writing. Truth or Square is a very important SpongeBob episode to me because it was the episode that made me lose respect for the SpongeBob franchise. Truth or Square was towards the end of season 6. This wasn't the first bad episode of the show, it's not even the worst episode of the show so far, but it was the episode that signaled to me that there were people behind SpongeBob who did not respect their audience. Even at 10 years old, I could look at a bad episode like The Splinter or The Card, which were actually my 2 most hated episodes to see in reruns back then, and just write it off and say, you know, maybe the writers were having a bad day. But Truth or Square? Nah. This was blatant. This was malicious. This was personal. From then on, I never looked at SpongeBob the same. And in a way, that was the true big reveal of Truth or Square. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much. Hey, guess what? If you hit that subscribe button, I'll tell you the Krabby Patty secret formula, the location of the Holy Grail, and what's in the Bermuda Triangle. Come on, you can trust me. If you like this SpongeBob video, I've got more. They should be popping up right about now. No? Okay. Oh, there they are. Okay, so this one is about the show. This is another show one, and this one is about some SpongeBob video games. I think you'd really enjoy them. Okay, that's all from me. See you next time.